Hey Carl, you got Josh from Train Heroic. So I appreciate you getting back with me on text, and I'd like to just kind of walk you through how this thing starts. So the first thing you're going to do is I want your eye to go to the left-hand side of the screen. You're going to see this menu of options. Okay, so here lies all the athletes that you train. If you're training groups, you're going to see teams. These are shared calendars for your athletes, right, or groups. You've got a library with all of your content, and then once you've got this going, you're going to go into your analytics and actually report and view what your athletes are doing specifically. So first things first, you're going to want to invite athletes. Okay, so as an example, if you're training somebody one-to-one, I'm going to invite an athlete. Now, again, if this is like a group of high school athletes or something, you can invite them to a team or a group. But in this case, I'm just going to invite one of my personal training clients, okay? And I'm going to hit next. Now, I'm going to invite myself just to demonstrate. And what you'll do is you'll give them a message, right? Hey, Josh, let's get this going. Right, you're going to send an invite. And so what happens is this invite goes to the athlete. They haven't yet created their account, right? But they're invited. They're not yet on a team. They're just invited here. But you're going to be able to set up their calendar. So these are your two steps. Invite them, go set up their calendar. Okay, so if you click on their calendar, what you'll notice is their calendar is totally blank. This is where you'll deliver the training plan to this specific athlete. Okay, so you've got a couple options. You can create a training session, or you can add something from your library. Now, if you click Add from Library, what you'll notice if you go to Programs, there's nothing here yet, right? So what we recommend to coaches is actually go into your library and build a training plan. If it's just one training session, no problem. Go here and create a session, right? So I'll walk through that. If you hit Create a Session, you're going to hit Add Block right in the middle of the page. You search for a movement. So the first thing we're going to do is back squat. I'll search back squat. If I find it, I hit Enter. If there's ever anything you don't find, you can create your own, okay? But I'm going to hit back squat. And then I'm going to select a rep scheme. Okay, so I'll click this drop down. We allow you to save certain rep schemes, but I'm going to go with a custom rep scheme. And I'm going to hit number of sets. Let's go 3. We're going 3 by 5. Now, this is a higher level athlete, so rather than leaving the weight blank, I'm going to use the drop down. I'm going to set a percentage, and we're going to go at 50, 60, and 70%. Right? This will calculate and show the athlete a real load. They'll be able to adjust it. And the notes are going to say tempo is 3-0-XO. Right? And I want you to rest 2 minutes between sets. Now, I'm going to add another block. So after block A, you can always add as many blocks as you want. We're going to do some pull-ups, right? Same thing. I'm going to add a custom rep scheme, 3 sets. In this case, we're going 3 by 10. You'll notice that these columns, I don't need to use both, right? So I'm only going to use one. This is just body weight. I could throw weighted pull-ups, but in this case, I'm only going to do one. Now, we're going to be pressed for time, so rather than A and B, I'm going to link these movements. So I've got A1 and A2. Okay, and I'm going to add another block. Now, one thing to note here when adding sessions is rather than a standalone exercise or a pair of exercises with sets and reps, I always have the option to create what we call a circuit. So I'm going to click on that so you can see what that looks like. But circuits are effectively just text-based programming, right? So I'm actually going to change this. It's not conditioning. This is going to be prep work, and this is going to be like our dynamic warm up, and I'm just going to have the athlete, 10 yards of, and we're going to go A skips, B skips, inchworms, 10 push-ups, 10 air squats, repeat 2 times total. Right, so the nice thing here is I don't need to track everything. The athlete otherwise is able to actually click in and make adjustments. Now you'll notice this option to move a movement up or down always. I'm going to move this warm up, and if you notice on the left hand side, as soon as I do that, we're going to show you in the summary and in the training session that the warm up's up here. Now the beauty of standalone exercises is we know exactly what they are because they're coming from our library, so they come with video, right? So if I jump in here, I can see a pull-up video or a back squat video. When you program just text, there's no video attached by default, but you can add. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say I'm going to add some A skips. I'm then going to come and add B skips. Right? And I can add as many videos as I want. And in fact, I could even save this circuit to my library. So now the dynamic warm-up is saved in my library. Next time I want to use it, I just search for the movement like I did back squat. I won't do that right now. But at this point, I've got a training session for Josh. He's invited. He hasn't yet joined, right? So as soon as he sees the invite, he'll download the app. And as soon as I hit publish session as a coach, and if I go back to the calendar, I'll notice the session's here, but it's unpublished. Another place you can do that is here. Just publish it. As soon as it's published, the athlete's actually going to see this when they log in. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to actually highlight this session. You'll notice there's the option to copy. I can use my keyboard too. We might repeat this next week. I can batch, highlight, and copy. And the reason I want to do that is I want to show you that if I go into my library, rather than creating a standalone session, maybe I create a training plan, right? And I'm going to call this like a 4-week strength plan. 4 weeks, 2 sessions a week, I'll create the program. And the reason I do this is I might be training, like in your case, 30 athletes, right? So now I'm just going to hit paste because I already copied those sessions. I'm going to drag this here. I'm going to copy these, and I'm going to just paste this a few times. Now that means maybe I'm coming in here and editing a session, so I adjust for volume and whatnot to progress the athlete. But at this point, this thing's saved in my library. So if I go back to the library, I'll notice I have a 4-week strength plan, right? So the next athlete that shows up, right, I'm going to invite another athlete. But if I go to athletes, let's look at just my invited. So I'm going to find myself here, right? And I'll go to the calendar. Now, rather than building these training plans, I can actually just add something for my library. And if I go to programs, I'll see I have my 4-week strength plan. And I can decide that, hey, I want this thing to start on the 7th. I'll hit OK, and I'll add it to my calendar. And now I've actually got that whole program on here, right? Of course, I can adjust this and move things around, but now I'm in a decent spot. So I hope this helps as far as next steps. We're standing by, man, so you're not on your own. Let us know what we can do to help. Thanks, Steve.